Good. Now, during my regular practice, my daily practice, I like to spend a lot of time working on the spine, and so I'm going to share some of the exercises that I do with you guys that I do on a regular basis. And so we're going to focus now, again, settling back into our structure. So it means we're dropping our weight into our heels. We're a gentle bend to our knees, a gentle tucking of the tailbone. We're going to begin in a position called immortal, holding the post, or the California tree hugger, whichever you prefer. And what we're going to do is take a nice deep breath here in the center, and now with our hips rooted to the earth, we're going to begin rotating our spine to your right. So try to keep your hips pointed toward the front of the classroom, and inhale back to center, and now rotate to your left. Now there's a number of different variations to this exercise, but right now we're just going to focus on just rotating around our spine. By keeping our hips pointed at the front of the classroom, it allows us, we're better able to actually isolate the movement within our spine. So with each breath in, imagine you're inhaling into the spine itself, creating space. Exhale and releasing any tension. It's a nice, slow, gentle movement. Sometimes when it comes to isolating the hips, it helps to imagine that you've got two headlights on the very front, the front bones on your hip, and that you want to keep them pointed at the front of the classroom so that they're not moving. So that changes how you're moving. Oftentimes what happens is we let the hips go and wow, I got a much greater range of motion, but actually what I'm doing is I'm twisting my hips more in order to get that impression that I've got more range of motion. But focus on keeping your hips pointed in one direction, unmoving, and then rotate around your spine. It feels a little bit different. Another way you can think about this is from this, we'll all come to the center, is begin by rotating your ribs, your shoulders, your elbows, and then your wrists. And then when we unwind by wrists, elbows, shoulders, ribs. And so by following this progression, it makes it a little bit easier to segment or feel the different movements within your spine. So be less concerned about how far you can move and more focus your intention and your breath on just the ability to feel the movement within your spine. We'll come back to center. One other variation with this move. Let's go ahead and drop our arms for a moment, give your shoulders a break. Shake that out a little bit. Yeah, it's not something I talk about much, but it's a good shoulder toning exercise. But what we're going to do, the one variation we're going to add is as we're rotating to your right is that we're going to extend your left hip back so that you're actually creating a counter rotation force. And there shouldn't be any pain here, but it also brings a little bit more attention to your hips and gives you a chance to actually feel that twist that we're creating in your spine a little more effectively. So again, we start out in immortal holding the post. We'll begin by rotating to your right and your left hip goes back. Breathe back in the center. And now as you rotate to your left, your right hip goes back. Inhaling and exhaling. And when you rotate your hip back, you'll realize that, wow, I'm not moving quite as much. So it does change the dynamics of this movement. But it's a great way. I like to think of this as like wringing out a towel, wringing tension out of my spine. If you want to take it a little bit further, what you can do is turn your head with your hip going back so that your arms are going one way and your opposite hip and your head are going the other way. Again, just feel the sensation. Feel the movement within your spine. Again, we're not trying to push past any edges. And we'll go once more to either side. And breathe back in the center. Allow your arms to come back. And shake that out. We're going to move on to what's called separating heaven and earth. So it's another spine exercise, but we're moving in a little bit different way to access different parts of our spine. And so we again start out in a mortal holding the post, trying to keep our elbows up. And the physical movement is that we're contracting what would be your right hand side as we raise and extend your left hand side. So for the moment, just focus on contracting the low hand side. That makes it a little bit easier. The idea is that we're accessing the sides of our spine where we're contracting the muscles on the low hand side while we're extending and stretching the muscles on the high hand side. So we keep a gentle bend in our elbows. The hands help to guide the movement, but we're not really putting a lot of effort into our hands themselves. The movement is almost exclusively within the spine itself. And so we inhale into center and exhale and contract the low hand side. And if you focus on the low hand side and the contraction, you'll feel a stretch in the high hand side. And then gradually, as you get comfortable with the movement, then feel that contraction on the low hand side and then extend the palm of your hand on the high hand side just a little bit higher. You feel a little bit deeper stretch. You can go nice and slow, keep a bend in your elbows. Again, the effort primarily is coming from within our spine itself. You may feel the stretch from the top of your hip, ultimately all the way up to the tips of your fingertips. Again, this is another movement that once you get familiar with the flow is to begin to explore it, begin to feel different parts of your body. Again, the focus is on our spine, but you'll get a chance to reconnect a little bit more intimately with the muscles within our core that allow us to make this movement happen. If you like, what you can do is shift instead of focusing primarily on the low hand side that's contracting, is focus on the high hand side that's reaching, extending toward the ceiling. Again, keep a bend in your elbows. Imagine that you're just reaching the palm toward the ceiling and creating a stretch from the top of your hip bone all the way up through your arm to the edge of your palm. And this is the foundation move for a much more complex move that we'll get into in future classes. But for now, just get comfortable and feel this movement within your spine and within your body. Going nice and slow, allowing the breath to set the pace. Fully and deeply inhaling and fully releasing and exhaling. And we'll go once more to either side. And breathe back in the center. Go ahead and relax. Shake that out, pause and feel for a moment. Next spine exercise we're going to do is fairly common. It's just T side bending, but there's some subtle differences here. Again, we're trying to keep our hips rooted to the ground, focusing on moving our spine from the hips up. So from this point down, we're staying rooted to the earth. And from this point up is that we're moving our spine primarily. Take a nice deep breath in, and we'll begin by leaning to your right and allowing the left fingers to reach toward the sky. Inhale back to center. Now as we lean to your left, the right hand reaches to the sky. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we'll move on to the second variation. So when you're ready, go ahead and bring your arms back up. Take a nice deep breath into center. And we'll begin by leaning to your right, but this time the left arm grazes past our ear and we let the weight of our arm open up our side a little bit more. We breathe back in the center, and then as we lean to your left, the right arm comes across the top. And now the upper arm just hangs and helps to open up our side just a little bit more. Again, the stretch, focus on feeling it from the top of your hip all the way through potentially to your fingers. Inhaling and exhaling. Again, our hips are rooted to the earth. And we're focusing the movement within the spine itself. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. We'll go once more to either side. And breathe back to center. Allow your arms to come back to your sides for a moment. Give your shoulders a break. And move on to the next variation. Again, this is part of a more complex move, but this is a good place to start. So take a nice deep breath in the center. As we lean to your right, again, the left arm comes over the top, but the right arm pushes down and across. So we're deepening that stretch just a little bit more. We breathe back to center. As we lean to your left, the right arm pushes, As we lean to your left, anyway, about this point I start getting confused. So the low hand side, the low hand is pushing down and across, and the upper arm is just the weight itself is helping us to open up our side a little bit more. Sometimes it helps to settle down a little bit more into your knees to help keep the hips anchored to the earth. And just feel the movement within your spine, within the sides of your body. Bless you. Sometimes when I'm doing this exercise, I like to think that I'm spinning a ball in the center of my chest where I'm unwinding it and spinning in one direction. And then I'm unwinding it and spinning it in the opposite direction. I'll go once more to either side. Come back to center. Allow your arms to come back down. Pause and feel. So move on to one more spinal exercise. It's called Opening the Spine 1. And this is an opportunity where I like to actually start focusing on moving some chi or moving some energy. Oftentimes, both in Wuji Qigong as well as Daoist yoga, we think about colors, but what I'd like you to focus on is moving loving kindness. Again, the focus of the class today, as in future classes, is it's an opportunity for us to be a little bit selfish and really take care of ourselves. So we get into a nice stable structure. Again, feet are maybe a little bit wider than the hips width apart. Gentle bend in the knees. We're dropping the tailbone just a little bit, so we're settling our weight into our heels. And we begin by inhaling. So imagine that you're drawing loving kindness from the earth through your legs, all the way through your body to your fingertips. We begin the slow exhale by releasing the joints in each of our fingers, in our wrists, in our elbows, our shoulders. Our chin drops to our chest, and we roll toward the earth one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slowly. We pause at the bottom for a gentle stretch, and then we begin by bending our knees, pushing up through the hips or the heels, dropping our tailbone, slowly straightening our spine, bringing our arms back up to the top, and then we begin again that slow exhale where we're releasing each joint one at a time, feeling the release of each joint, releasing anything that doesn't serve us back out through our heels, deep, deep, deep into the earth. And then again, we begin by bending our knees, pushing up through the heels, dropping our tailbone, slowly straightening our spine, as we bring our arms back up to the top. And then a slow, focused release of each joint. Breathing when you need to. Rolling toward the earth one vertebrae at a time. And we begin by inhaling, Breathing in loving kindness through our heels, feeling our entire body all the way up to our fingertips. And then as we begin the slow exhale, we release each joint. Imagine that you're releasing tension, stress, anxiety, fear, whatever it is that doesn't serve you, just let it go out through your heels deep in the earth. Again, inhaling slowly. And then beginning the slow exhale. But again, breathe where you need to. And one of the goals we work to is one full inhale to rise up, and then one long, slow exhale to release. But feel to breathe wherever you need to. I like to avoid anybody blacking out today by trying to breathe or trying to hold their breath. So focus and feel the movement. Set your intention to let go of any tension or pain that you might feel. Again, we're always looking for the edges, but we're not trying to push past. So if at any point in this exercise you start to feel some pain, back off. Again, this is another place where imagine maybe you're a piece of kelp in the ocean, that you're moving slowly. Rising up slowly, one joint at a time, one vertebrae at a time from the earth. Filling your body with loving kindness. And as we exhale, we're releasing one joint at a time consciously. Going nice and slow. Rolling down through each vertebrae in our spine one at a time. Go one more round. So we're breathing up to the top. Then again, allowing the slow exhale and release of any tension we may be feeling. Letting it go through our heels deep in the earth. And then one more big deep breath toward the top, filling our body, filling our joints with loving kindness, and then allow your arms to come back to your sides. Nicely done. All right, we're going to do just a little bit of cleansing. This is an exercise called pulling down the earth, and there's a lot of different variations to this. But what we'll focus on again is we're still using loving kindness as the description of the chi that we're going to be moving. And so what we're doing is as we inhale, imagine that you're filling your arms through the fingers all the way up to your shoulders with loving kindness. And then what we're using is the center of our palms to direct that flow down across first the front, then the back and through the center core, letting go of any remaining tension we may be feeling. And so we inhale and drawing loving kindness in, filling our arms all the way up to the shoulders, and then with the center of our palms, we direct that cleansing flow down the front half of our body, letting go of any tension, stress, anxiety, fear, whatever it might be that doesn't serve us, let it go deep into the earth. We take another big, deep breath. And now imagine you're directing that flow down the back half of your body, down the back of your head, your spine, your torso, your hips, the backs of your legs, releasing anything that doesn't serve you out through your heels. Another big, deep breath. And now we direct that cleansing flow down through the center core of our body, releasing anxiety and tension that we might have, and just let it go deep in the earth. We'll do another set, inhaling, cleansing down the front half of our body, Take another deep breath. Now down the back half. And one more deep breath. Down the center core. Again, allow the breath to set the pace. And we'll do one more set. Down the front. Down the back. And now down through the center core. At the bottom, go ahead and pause and feel. And then we're going to end today with a meditation. It's called the 1 through 4. It's part of a much larger meditation, but this is a good way of actually harmonizing your body as well as both building up energy in what's called the lower dantian, or lower energy center. And so go ahead and just find a good structure to stand in and stuff where you're comfortable. Weight is in your heels, gentle bend in the knees, gentle tucking the tailbone. Hands can hang loose. You can take mountain pose if you like. Wuji pose tends to be more like this, but wherever your arms are comfortable, again, the idea is to be relaxed and stable and settling into your heels. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a nice deep, deep breath. And step 1 is called one is fun. And so allow a smile to form on your lips. And then imagine now that you're taking that smile and placing it over your forehead. Take a nice deep breath, and as you begin to exhale now, allow that smile to pass down along the front of your body. Accepting yourself as you are, and reminding yourself that you are okay and perfect just the way you are. The bottom now, bring the smile back up to the top. Take a nice deep breath, and now imagine that smile is looking at the back of your head. And as you begin to exhale, allow that smile to pass down along the back of your body, down along your spine, your torso, your hips, backs of your thighs. Again, allowing yourself to be accepting the way you are and knowing that you're okay and perfect just the way you are, that you are okay. Take another deep breath. And now allow that smile to form over the crown of your head. And as you begin the slow exhale now, allow that smile to pass down through your body. Reminding yourself, no matter what society might say, is that you're okay and you're perfect just the way you are. Allow that smile to pass through your entire body, letting go of any remaining tension you may be holding on to. Now take a deep breath, and we'll begin the second stage, which is called to eschew. And so as you begin to exhale, imagine your feet now are beginning to melt into the floor, spreading out in all directions slowly, much like the surface roots of a tree. And so with each breath in, and as you exhale again, imagine that you're settling a little bit deeper into the earth, allowing your body to begin to establish a deeper and more intimate connection with the earth. And so with each breath in and each exhale out, we're establishing a deeper, stronger connection. And with your next breath now, we'll begin 3 tree. Is now imagine that roots are extending out from the bottoms of your feet deep into the earth. With each breath in, and with each exhale out, the roots reach deeper and begin to broaden in size, getting thicker, establishing even deeper, stronger, more intimate connection with the earth. And as you progress, those roots get bigger. Imagine now small finger roots begin to shoot out in all directions. Again, strengthening that connection that you have with the earth. Imagine that in a way you're starting to become a bit of a tree. And then on your next inhale now, imagine now that you're breathing through those roots, through your heels, into your lower dantian, your lower energy center. And then you're exhaling back out through those roots. So now each breath is coming directly from the earth into your lower dantian, into your lower energy center. And then we exhale, and then we release back into the earth. Inhaling from the earth, and exhaling from the earth, back into the earth. Now we'll move to stage 4, where now we inhale directly from the earth into our lower dantian, but as we exhale, we hold it there. So with each breath in, we gather. As we exhale, we store that in our energy center. And so we're gathering loving kindness from the earth, storing it in our lower dantian, and as we exhale, we're keeping it there, holding that energy. Inhale and gather. Exhale and store. Inhale and gather. Exhale and store. 3 more deep breaths. Inhale and gather. Exhale and store. One more deep, full, complete breath. Exhale and store. And feel free to continue this pattern as you pause and feel. Start at the tips of your fingers and feel through each of the joints today that we've explored and nourished. See if you notice any subtle changes. I want to thank you all for coming into today's class. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide. Have a nice day, and through these stressful times, may you all find a little bit of peace and joy, and if nothing else, come back to this meditation. It helps. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you all again here real soon. You're welcome.